Hey, welcome to the CoLab podcast. My name is Ryan Macpherson, CEO and co-founder at Co-Assemble. Introducing the genius behind the product, Jude Novak, CPO and co-founder as well.
And we're here to talk all things online training.
Awesome. Enjoy. Hey, Jude, how you going?
Good, thanks, mate.
Welcome to the CoLab podcast again. Great to be back.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so today we're talking about content creation, authoring tools, and really speaking to the rapid nature of where content creation tool has gone in the e-learning industry. So, I know that you've got a lot of experience in designing one of the, in my opinion, one of the best authoring tools out there that Co-Assemble obviously uses. But, you've come from working with existing tools, older tools, new tools, and you've definitely got a design thinking background. So I'm just curious, what is an authoring tool for our audience? What is it made up of? Where does it come from? Where does this thinking come from today about authoring tools?
I guess, authoring tool can mean all sorts of things. Yeah. I think, like if you look back in time, authoring tools have been things like Flash, Captivate, Articulate Storyline, or I think that's what it's called.
Some older technologies there, but yeah.
So, and all those tools were based around kind of software that you would download onto your computer and you'd create files.
And when you say create, what are you doing? You're designing, moving pixels around the page,
you're moving pixels around. You're creating buttons and interactive content. You're trying to make things look as good as possible. So you'd have images and you'd other media content like videos. And a lot of text.
And you're designing an experience for a learner to go through, right? You're thinking about, what is this learner going to go through? How they're going to interact? Where is the button going to go? What does that image look like on the screen for that learner? Where should the text go, right? You're really thinking about what content looks like on a screen. Yeah.
You think about, but also, I think to start with, you're thinking about what's the goal of this content? Like, what am I trying to teach somebody? And then you step back and think about, all right, what's the most engaging way we can do this so that they're going to retain, this knowledge. So they're going to hopefully enjoy the experience, and because they've enjoyed it, they'll have a better recollection of what they've experienced.
And in my experience, these used to be very specialized, both roles in the business and also very specialized technologies. And it wasn't as simple as kind of logging into the browser and starting to create. I think from memory, content creation for screen, just very much like a website, go back 10 years, no one was just making a website and kind of moving the pixels and the pictures around. They were going to a web design agency to have that made. And I think if you transferred that into businesses, learning designers, right? Learning designers is a common term in our world, and our listeners probably, and there's probably a couple of listeners out there that are learning designers, a very specific role that had been through training on specific software almost, to design interactions, using some of these authoring tools.
I think it even got even more granular than that. So let's say 15 years ago, you would have a learner designer. You would also have a graphic designer.
Yeah.
Then you'd have somebody who's
the SME,
the
whole
SME,
team. Yeah.
But you'd also have somebody who understands technology, who could write a JavaScript or ActionScript or whatever it was to make the content interactive. Then you'd have somebody who would kind of administer an LMS of some sort.
Yeah.
Because you can't just pop it on.
Where are you going to put it? Yeah.
Exactly. Where do you put it?
And how are you gonna load it up onto a server?
It's not like how it is today, where everything's on the cloud. You log in and you're there.
And I think that's a really important point. So today we're here to talk about rapid creation of content and really speeding up the process, I guess, of allowing someone to create a really engaging experience, a learning experience online, using the tools out there today that really allow you to do that, right? And so if you're talking about some of those past history, that the cases there, one of the biggest problems was speed, right? It was a very slow, time-consuming, expensive process that really did not allow a lot of people to get into it. It was almost locked out for a lot of people, couldn't actually start the process.
Yeah, so like I was getting to before, it's like there are so many players involved. Compared to what you can do today, you can just be an individual who can put all those pieces together. So as an individual, you can be the learning designer, the graphic designer, the IT, or
technology
the programmer.
allows you to do that, yeah. And so I think one of the things that you pioneered, I know that I was so excited about when I first joined Co-Assemble and thought, this guy's really onto something, is the templatization, right? The idea of using, templates to be able to design content. Now those templates had to be, thought about and constructed from traditional L&D models, right? So learning and design had to be thought about when we first made those templates, but they really revolutionized the speed, right? Because all of a sudden you weren't creating the same screen interaction 25 times. You basically had already done that through the templates. So do you want to walk us through, what was the role of templates in, I think, speeding up this authoring tool, rapid creation idea in the industry?
The reason we moved to templates was is because at some point, and I know this stat because went back and looked at it,
It's a scary stat.
I had 7,500 individual flash files. That made up screens within content. And doing an audit on that, we realized there was probably only 50 that we would just continue to use over and over.
Yeah,
and
you
over
were
again.
making small tweaks on those screens, but really the main asset was often very similar.
Yeah, so the way it looked, the way it was laid out, the interactivity was all very similar, but the content would change.
And I think there are proven methods for engaging learners online, right? And it's something we have to pay attention to. So, you can only do so much on a screen, right? And with the technology we have, it's obviously improving all the time. You've got AR, VR, you've got a lot of things coming out that really allow you to go further and deeper. But at the end of the day, let's say, for example, I want to put up a picture with some text and I want to tie those two things together, right? Yeah. So I've got an image of a boat and, it's about to go sink into the water because it's overloaded with people. And I want to provide some text on the other side there to say, hey, we should always monitor how many people we allow on a boat. So this doesn't happen when a big wave comes, right? And that's just linking what I call imagery with text to allow someone to understand a concept, yeah? So talk to me about some of the early templates that you thought really sped up the process, really allowed someone to go, yep, I can take this and I can turn it into something really powerful. What were some of those original, templates you thought really sped up the creation process?
I think it's a bit hard to describe, for our listeners to actually understand. But I think some of the things that were important when creating the templates, like of the 50 we chose, there were some key kind of elements.
Yeah, what were they?
Or to those that made them, one of the 50. Yeah. So one of the things that's really important when creating online training or learning is to chunk your content up. Yeah, you don't want to overload
too much information on the screen.
Page. Yeah. So that is one important thing. Another thing is discovery. Yeah. So allow people to discover content. Yeah. By doing that, they'll have
So rather than leading them to every single interaction, it's kind of give them a bit of a pathway, let them discover some of the interactions, let them find the information themselves. We know that a learner that is doing that is already more engaged than someone that's just clicking next the entire time. Yeah.
So, I think traditionally you would have seen online training just being, as you described, text and an image on a white page, and you click next. Yep.
And as we kind of saw cloud technology come along, I guess we saw that, this rapid creation got even better with videos online. You've got searchable libraries like YouTube and Vimeo, and you got searchable image libraries, for example. I know in our platform we have, Google Images, we have Flickr. We've really allowed a lot of technologies to filter into this process. What do you see as, one of the biggest parts of speed and creation in that part? What are the elements that really allow people to move quickly?
I think good images is a huge thing. I think we recently implemented Unsplash into our platform, which has made all the difference in the world. It just makes your content kind of really pop. I think what makes rapid authoring rapid is the fact that it's like platforms like Canva and kind of Squarespace, they've already done the design for you. All you have to do is replace the content. Yeah. And that's what makes it rapid.
And I think that's one of the successful things that, you founded here at Co-Assemble, which was a lot of the people that are looking to get into online training, they're first starting, they've got the content, right? They've got the PowerPoint or the Word doc or the idea in their head. They've got the imagery, for example, sometimes. And what they need is a mechanism to put that into something beautiful on screen that's going to engage the learner, right? And what they don't have is the design skill. They don't have the ability to necessarily, they haven't gone to graphic design school, or they haven't kind of gone down and built websites before or something along those lines. They've really just got the knowledge and they need the tool to help them get there. And so that's where rapid authoring obviously comes in.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the I guess the biggest output of rapid authoring? What does it allow people to do? Is it short courses? Is it micro learning? Is it really just getting larger courses out quicker? What is the best outcome do you think that we're getting out of rapid authoring?
It really depends on the business and how your staff would be kind of consuming the content. Yeah. So micro learning is good for those people who are on the bus.
Moving quickly in their roles.
Mm-hmm. They're mobile, and they're most likely to do their training on a mobile phone.
Yeah.
But then you have kind of businesses who use it for onboarding
yeah.
staff. Mm-hmm. They've got a computer.
Yep, they're at a desktop.
They're at a desktop. They can probably do a course that lasts 30 minutes as opposed to micro learning, which is typically a few minutes.
And when we talk about, online training, rapid creation, authoring tools, let's talk about the people behind it now. So traditionally, as we said, there was learning designers. There were specific roles built into the business to sit there all day, really, and bring content to life. That was their job, and obviously to have a learning outcome in that. Now, today, I feel like, if you looked at a cross-section of our users, a lot of them are managers. They're actually, they've got a day job. They're actually, they're managing people, they're managing product, they're managing marketing teams, and they don't necessarily have all day to think about the training that they're putting out. So how does content creation, rapid content creation, micro learning, how does it play a role in that part, do you think?
Well, I think for starters, that manager in that team is an expert. So they're an SME in their field.
Couldn't agree more.
They just need a way to disseminate the information. But by using a rapid authoring tool, there are limitations on what you can do. Yep. In a good way, in a good sense.
In a good way, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that whatever you deliver
can't
is
go
going
out of the box.
You can't go out of the box. So whatever you deliver is going to be in a format that is proven to be successful at letting staff retain knowledge.
Yeah, and I think if you can come in an hour early in the morning and create something, and I often talk about this with our customers, if you can come in an hour in the morning, you've got all day, you're going to be busy. You're going to be busy. You get in that extra hour early, you create a quick course that now goes out to your 50 team members, right? That's work that or conversations you don't have to have because you've been able to get that information out very, very quickly. Within an hour, I was able to maybe create a 10-screen interaction that's going to tell them about our KPIs for next week, for example. And the power of getting that out to those 50 is that come next week, they already know what those KPIs are, and I can start talking to them individually about how to actually chase them down. I'm not having to explain it. I'm not having to go through a PowerPoint. I can actually improve my time and probably make myself more efficient in my role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We often talk here at Co-Assemble, and I use it a lot. Our customers say we're able to build on Monday or think about on Sunday. I start there. So we're able to think about what we're going to share on Sunday, build it on Monday, share it on Tuesday, and see results in the business on Friday, right? And I think rapid content creation allows that. You talked about the box and allowing people not to make mistakes. The other cool thing that I think we see with our customers and definitely of other tools in our space is that someone goes, "Did you make that?" Because, I've never had any design experience, but all of a sudden I've made something that looks good. It actually interacts on a mobile device. I've been able to get something out there that looks professional. Looks like I paid a serious amount of money to an agency to be able to create this. I didn't. I actually used something in-house myself very quickly. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So one of the things we do, or what I've been doing in one of our teams, is to when we're onboarding somebody, we make them do a course about them, like on any subject they want, so we can get to know them. Yeah. So they get an hour to create a course, and then they deliver it to the rest of the team. Yeah. Which is, goes to show you that how rapidly you can create something and tell a story about yourself.
You talked about, what rapid content creation allows businesses to now start to think about. I think what we're seeing in the market is probably that we've now got rapid content creation affecting what we call external training. So you've got two types of training. We talk about it a lot. Internal being my internal team members sharing knowledge inside my business. And now what we've got also with rapid content creation, allowing people to go, okay, I actually want to get a course out to my customers. Or, you know what, it's Black Friday sale, right? I want to make sure that they understand the product that I'm selling, for example, or the discount that we're providing. I want to give them some narrative around that. And they're starting to think about customer education, right? And I think when you think about, rapid content creation or micro learning, you can start to really build some exciting user cases, right? And recently I saw one of, unlock learning is a thing that we talk about here at CoAssemble, which is the idea of using almost like a URL to be able to share, learning anywhere, right? And recently I was filtering through, LinkedIn, and I saw one of the consultants who uses our product had a course up just on LinkedIn, essentially. And she'd posted it. It was free. It was a resource that was going to help her, her customers or the market that she lives in, just understand exactly what they were doing at that time. And she was able to just put that up there really, really quickly. I kind of reached out to her and said, how long did that take to create? Was an exhaustive process? She said, no, like literally I thought about it on the weekend and I was able to make it and ship it basically within a week. Yep. Pretty powerful.
Yeah. No, it was definitely, I think it was a very good kind of marketing tool for her services as well.
I thought
it was pretty cool.
What's also interesting, I think, as well, is you're starting to see a lot of people talk about microlearning and they say it's just short courses or small courses, right? I think it's actually more in depth than that, right? If we really wanted to dive into what's driving the idea behind, rapid content creation, it's things like nudge theory. It's things like making sure that content is delivered at a time when it's going to have an impact for that person, right? So, for example, if I'm, at my desk designing like you do all day, testing code and, making sure I'm getting everything sorted, maybe online training is not right then the best thing for me to do, right? Because I'm actually very focused on what I'm trying to do in the business, yeah? But for example, I might go out to lunch and I suddenly receive a little bit of a snippet course that says, hey, I'm interested. I'm at the coffee shop. I've got a little bit of downtime. I'm interested to consume content. So that kind of idea around, if I can create something really quickly, I can probably create a lot of it, right? Compared to I can only create one large course because it takes so long and it's very expensive. Do you think that modern content authoring, what we've talked about here, the speed, the efficiency, the in the box, being able to create something without design skills, is that meaning that we're getting more content? Does it mean that people are able to get more content out in their business? Is it that?
Yeah, definitely. People are making more content everywhere because it's easier to do. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't, there would be, a lot less. Yeah. That sounds like a silly answer, but the
risk is here, you don't always get, more bang for buck with more. So I think, if you're using an authoring tool that has been thought about from a learning design perspective, even though it's templatized, it's quick, it's been designed to still have an impact, we can still make sure that there's a quality product going out the door, yeah?
Yeah, well, and that's the whole point. Yeah.
So a lot of, rapid content creation is limited, right? Because you have to go back to the LMS. You have to find, your way back to a platform, for example. But when you isolate that and you make the content itself quick to create, but also easy to share and let it kind of go free, for example, what do you think the impact of that is? Starting to think about how courses can now become assets in themselves without the learning management system.
Yeah. Well, I think what is really useful is the fact that we're in a world now where social media is huge. Being able to share a course across socials is a massive thing. It's a huge game changer for a lot of people, but also people are using business solution software like Slack, where if you do have 1,000 people in your workplace, you can share a course via a link, and then get people to enter that course without them knowing they're really going to another platform.
In the learning management system,
but I guess the most important thing is that the person who shared it knows who took the course,
the analytics
knows how they engaged, and then can use that to determine whether it was a success or not.
And to put this into real terms, I think for if you tie it together, today we're talking about, what is an authoring tool? Why is it getting so fast to be able to create, content, and what's the benefits of that? When you really isolate that you can create something really, really quickly that's quite powerful, you can then put that into the tools of your team members, the tools of your customers in a way that feels natural. They don't necessarily have to go and log into an LMS, for example. They can actually be on LinkedIn and consume that information right there and then, right in front of them, without actually even understanding that this was tied to a wider course library, for example. I think that's pretty exciting. So the combination of thinking about rapid micro learning, quick creation, tools that enable you to do that, it actually fits really, really well with rapid sharing. and what are you thinking in that space? What's the future hold for, rapid content creation mixed with rapid sharing?
Well, I think it's all being able to integrate with the platforms that people are already using every day. That makes it rapid. That'll make it super fast.
And viral too, because I think once if I see that course that customer put up on LinkedIn and I like it, and I might want to share that with someone else, and all of a sudden that piece of content becomes so viral in that it can keep getting shared. It's kind of like what we saw with tweets and, back with the early days of social media, because there was an asset that was shareable. You could start to share that asset further and wider. So it feels like we're really starting to see rapid content creation and authoring tools enable more people to create content. That's the first thing, which is amazing. But then really start to see that content go wider than it traditionally could, where it was locked in a box or locked in an LMS. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
It makes sense. But I think another thing to note there is, I think it's what we're seeing some of our customers do is being able to figure out by testing which kind of platforms are having most success with, because success rate is super important. Like, so if I deliver a course via Slack as opposed to a socials channel, and it turns out the socials channel gave me more success, more engagement, then I'm going to keep using the social. So you actually have a chance to measure that success there.
Cool. So I guess trying rapid content creation is the key, right? Because if you don't get in there and actually figure out how to have a go, it's hard to really explain the power of it, right? So I know that one thing that we've been working on, and your genius has been put to play here in the new year, potentially really bringing out a fun experience on our website to allow people to get in there and explore a couple of our templates, right? And build out something really quick and build out almost in 5 minutes something that's quite powerful. And we're really excited about what that could bring. Do you want to walk us through, on what, people might get out of that experience?
Well, I think what we're trying to do there is just like give everybody a chance to try out rapid authoring as we believe it should be.
Introduce them to the concept almost,
because a lot of people don't know what it is or why would it make a difference in their lives?
And so many platforms are locked away. You have to buy the platform to be able to create that first piece. And, if you think about a business that's thinking about going into this space, they've heard about microlearning, they've heard about content creation. They're like, cool, but, I need to talk to a sales guy for 6 weeks to be able to find out if I could build something. I think the concept for us, and I think a lot of other tools are probably heading this way as well, which is let's introduce this concept to anyone to come in and go, could I build something in a couple of minutes in a browser with the assets that I have in my brain and the assets that I have on my desktop computer right now? Pretty exciting stuff. Yeah. So if you're interested, in a couple of months' time, we'll be releasing that. It's an exciting part of CoAssemble's journey. Jude, our co-founder and CPO, the genius behind it, he'll be putting that together. If you're interested, check out our socials and the links below. And today's been awesome to talk about rapid e-learning, content creation, micro-learning, and I think, where we are heading with people content creating from any industry, any people inside the business, rather than the traditional methods, which were slow, expensive, and pretty painful from memory.
Yep, it was.
Thanks, Jude.
Thanks, mate.